Hey, good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, whenever you're watching this. Here are some notes on the order of operations, okay? Feel free to pause this video and copy this down at any time, okay? I'm just going to kind of read through it and show you like a small handful of examples, okay? It's just some light review as we move on towards the geometry school year, okay? So order of operations, very commonly you've probably heard this as PEMDAS, okay? With PEMDAS you have parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, and then addition and subtraction. So they say if you go in that order, you'll be able to get every single one of these questions right, okay? And what they mean by that is there's kind of like rules of doing math problems. It's kind of like if you're making a sandwich, right? Um, Sometimes, it just is helpful to know to put the peanut butter on the bread before putting the two pieces of bread together. Okay, if you put the two pieces of bread together, you just do it out of order, then you try to put peanut butter on it, you might have a bad time. Another example might be if you've ever made ramen noodles, okay, that come in the package, you throw it in the boiling water. Well, what if you threw the noodles in there without the water? You put it on the oven for 3 or 4 minutes, right? And then you added water. It would be out of order and it would mess things up, right? The same thing happens with math if you don't do them correctly according to this process, okay? This process, once again, is just generally called the order of operations. However, um, like the little fun name we came up with was PEMDAS, 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 okay? Meaning you start with stuff in parentheses, okay? Anything parentheses, you still do the order of operations within those parentheses. Any exponents you have, you do those, okay? And we'll do an example like that as well. And then multiplication and division, you notice I put them on the same line. I put a little red line there. Multiplication and division actually are supposed to be done at the same time left to right. So if you see a division in your problem, but it's on the left side and then multiplication is on the right, you gotta do the left side first. You do the division. You treat those as equals, okay? So parentheses, exponents, then multiplication and division are considered equals, okay? Like it's like an equal step. And then last, okay, it's one thing really. Addition and subtraction is one thing. You do addition subtraction from left to right, okay? From left to right. They're equals as well. Addition and subtraction are equals. Multiplication and division are equals, okay? So the first example I already worked out for you guys. It says 2 plus 3 times 4. We don't want to say 2 plus 3, which equals 5, times 4, which would equal 20. No, you want to say 2 plus 3 times 4. I recognize there's multiplication and division, right? There's no parentheses. Nope. There's no exponents. Nope. But there is multiplication, right? There's no division, but there is multiplication. So I'm going to do that part, okay? 3 times 4, that equals 12. Cool. Next step. Addition, subtraction. Now I just got 2 plus 12, well, that equals 14. Bam. Okay, that's the answer. Now, example 2 I haven't worked out yet. Okay, I have it just sitting here. We have 3 plus, in parentheses, 4 minus 1. That's all in parentheses, plus 2, parentheses, 6 minus 4. So we've got a bunch of stuff going on here. I'm going to kind of scribble some notes down, okay? You got parentheses, you have 3 plus, and then parentheses 4 minus 1. Think of it like an onion or something, like a present you peel, okay, or you open up. You want to start with the inside first, okay? So I'm going to start with the 4 minus 1 here. I'm going to do this math first, okay? So 4 minus 1, not too bad. Hopefully pretty easy, okay? That just equals 3. Over here I have a 6 minus 4. I'm actually going to do that as well, okay? And I'm going to say 6 minus 4, that equals 2. And now I'm going to rewrite it. So I have 3 plus 3 So I have 3 plus 3 plus 2 parentheses 2. Something kind of special here. Whenever you see a number outside of parentheses like we do right here, that actually means multiplication. Okay, it's very similar to this dot, or probably that X that you were used to, okay? It means multiplication. So I have 3 plus 3, which equals 6. And then I have 2 parentheses 2, which we're going to go ahead and do, and that's multiplication, and that equals 4. So I've done all my stuff with parentheses, and what's left over is 6 plus 4. Okay, that gives us a final answer of 10. So let's take a quick look at one problem with an exponent. Okay. All right, let's take a look at a practice problem. Let's see. All right, okay, I found a good one. So you may or may not actually be familiar with exponents. You may not have seen it in a class together. I'm going to show you real quick what exponents are, all right? So, with exponents, they actually have some cool vocabulary, I guess you should learn. And that is the number, okay, we call a base. And then above the number, and it's written a little bit smaller, okay, we call the exponent. And what that exponent is used for is to tell us how many times that base is multiplied by itself. So we call this 2 to the 4th power, okay? 2 to the 4th power means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So what you should notice, okay, because our exponent was 4, we had to write this out 4 times, okay? Yeah, so I'm not going to go in too crazy with exponents because there are some other special things to do with exponents. If you have a negative exponent or a fraction or decimal in your exponent, 0 is an exponent. A lot of fun stuff you can do with exponents, so we'll just leave it like that for now, and maybe we'll attack that in a different lesson. But for now, let's just kind of keep at a basic level. So going back to PEMDAS, all right? All right, this problem's got a lot going on, okay? It says 5 to the 2nd power, which there's a short way to say that we call squared. Okay, so if you hear somebody say something is squared, that means it's taken to the 2nd power. If something is cubed, okay, like a cube, that's like a shortcut for a 3rd power. But for now, I'm just going to use the 2nd power as shortcut name, okay? 5 squared minus 4 squared plus, in parentheses, 8 plus 2 divided by 2. So a lot going on. Let's take a look at this idea of what PEMDAS wants us to do, okay? So one strategy would be above your problem or to the side of your problem to actually write the word PEMDAS, okay, or that little fun math phrase PEMDAS, okay. Write that out, and then after you do a step, cross it off. Okay, it's kind of a cool little trick you can do. So if we have 5 squared minus 4 squared plus 8 plus 2 divided by 2, and you're like, where do I start? I see a minus, I see a plus, I see that little number above we call an exponent, I see division, there might be multiplication in there, I'm not really quite sure, right? There's a lot of stuff going on. So let's just start with the P in PEMDAS, okay? I see parentheses, 8 plus 2 divided by 2. Cool. So while we're inside there, we have to be mindful of the order of operations. Okay, we're looking for exponents, not inside the parentheses. Any multiplication or division. Ooh, I see a divided by 2. So what I'm going to do is say 2 divided by 2, which that just equals 1. Okay. That just equals the number 1. So let's rewrite it again. So instead of saying 2 divided by 2, right, 8 plus 2 divided by 2, we're just going to replace that with 8 plus 1 because 2 divided by 2 just simply equals 1. Once again, I'm still doing those parentheses, so I'm going to say, what's 8 plus 1? And that equals 9. So now I'm going to rewrite this problem again. Now you notice with this problem, because I finished everything in the parentheses and it was just a plus in front of it, nothing special around the parentheses, okay, which you might see in a more difficult problem, but nothing special around the parentheses, so I'm just going to remove it and say 5 squared minus 4 squared plus 9, and I'm going to go ahead with the P with PEMDAS, cross it off and say I'm done with the parentheses. Now I'm going to go to exponents, okay? So let's go to exponents. Okay, let's go to exponents. I see an exponent. I see 5 to the exponent of 2, right, to the power of 2. That means 5 times 5. 5 times 5, or you might have heard 5 squared. Okay, 5 squared equals 25. And then I see over here a 4 squared. 4 squared, okay, 4 to the second power. That means 4 times 4, and 4 times 4 equals 16. Okay, so 4 times 4 just simply equals 16. So now I'm going to go ahead and rewrite my problem, and I finished the exponent, so I'm going to cross it off. Okay, so what comes up? Instead of saying 5 squared minus 4 squared plus 9, I'm going to rephrase that. I've rewritten it, right, as 25 minus 16 plus 9. So think back to our original problem. We had parentheses. We did that part first. They had exponents. We did that part next. Now I'm looking for any multiplication or division. Well, since I don't have any left, right, I did some in here, but nothing on this outside, I'm going to go ahead and just cross this off to show that I checked for it. Okay, those go, remember that they're a pair. They're like the same thing. Now I'm going to go to addition and subtraction. Okay, addition and subtraction, because I have subtraction and I have addition, you don't do this stuff first. You've got to go from left to right. Okay, you got to go from left to right. If we do it incorrectly, you'll get a wrong answer. You do all this hard work and then mess it up at the end. Do it from left to right when you have multiplication, division, and when you have addition or subtraction. And I show you what I mean. I'm going to say 25 minus 16. 25 minus 16 would be what, 9? And then 9 plus 9 is just simply 18. So if I were to check my work, I wrote all my steps out. Okay, I was very clear with this. I'm suggesting, I'm telling you should do this exact same thing. Okay, you should take maybe even more steps than I did to kind of show each little thing. But parentheses, I did that part first. Exponents, I then did my exponents. Multiplication, division, okay, I didn't have any, but I was mindful of that in my parentheses. And then lastly, addition, subtraction, that's what I did very, very, very last, okay? All right, so that is how you do the order of operations necessary for this class, okay? Actually, you know what? Let me show you one more free one, okay? Let me show you one more example. This example is going to be with a fraction. I totally forgot. You're probably going to see these fractions a little bit, all right? Okay, let's take a look at this one, huh? 8 times 2 plus 7 times 3, that is being divided by 2 to the 4th power minus 3 times 5. So, don't freak out, but let's go over this one, okay? We got it. Just write PEMDAS and just kind of listen to how I set this up, all right? So remember, we're doing an order of operations, so by writing PEMDAS at the top of our page, that will help us out. So we don't have parentheses for this problem, which is fine. I do see an exponent, but with a problem like this, you want to separate it into two problems. You have a top part of your problem and then a bottom part of your problem, right? You've got 8 times 2 plus 7 times 3. That's like one problem. Then you've got a problem down here, 2 to the 4th power minus 3 times 5. So you kind of have two problems happening at the same time. Don't try to do them at the same time. Do them separately, okay? Do them separately, and then go back and write them together, okay? And I'll show you what I mean by that, okay? So let's just do the top part first. 8 times 2 plus 7 times 3. Thinking of PEMDAS, okay, there's no parentheses. Let me lock that, huh? There's no parentheses. There's no exponents, but there is multiplication and division. Okay, so I'm going to do 8 times 2. And I'm going to do 7 times 3, which equals 21. So I'm making a fraction here, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this one more time. And then when I do this, I'm going to write it at the bottom. So remember I told you separate it? So I did my multiplication. Now I'm going to do my addition. 16 plus 21. 16 plus 21 is 37. Okay. Not the prettiest of numbers, right? 37 is still a number. We'll still do things with it, okay? We'll still work with it. So let's take a look now at 2 to the 4th power minus 3 times 5, the bottom part, okay? Take a look at the bottom part. Do I have any parentheses? No. Do I have any exponents? Yes, I do, okay? 2 to the 4th power, that's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16, okay? So 2 to the 4th power equals 16, okay? Now over here I notice, okay, if you're getting the hang of this and you work a little bit faster, you might see, okay, I notice there's multiplication. I do multiplication before I do any sort of subtraction. So I'm going to go ahead and say, well, 3 times 5 I know equals 15. And now I'm going to rewrite it. Okay, so I've already simplified that top part to be 37. I still got to do that bottom part, which says 16 minus 15, which is just going to equal 1. Okay. So if you're not all that familiar with fractions, the fractions scare you. Okay, I understand they can be scary. They're not very pretty. Okay, I wouldn't want to go to prom with a fraction. All right. But fractions are, one way to look at it is just simply division. The top part divided by the bottom part. So instead of going up and down, you can actually make it look left to right. Okay. Anything divided by 1. So both these have the same answer, but it might be more meaningful to you maybe if you look at it left to right versus up and down as a fraction. But anything divided by 1 is just simply that thing, like 5 divided by 1 is 5, 10 divided by 1 is 10, right? Anything divided by 1 is just that number. Okay? Anything divided by 1 is just that number. Okay? So you saw fractions. You saw those exponents, okay, with parentheses and all kind of mixed up. Okay? So you'll probably have to use some of this stuff throughout this geometry school year. Hopefully this helped you out, and I'll show you more videos later. Hopefully you're liking these videos. All right, have a great day. Bye.